Good evening. Bonus arrow. I'm probably muted, right? I definitely muted myself. No, I didn't. Awesome. I remembered this time. I'm remembering how to be a streamer. Good evening. It's like 7:05 p.m. here on the east coast of the United States. We are back at programming, specifically my little heart rate monitor program. I've not updated this thing in a meaningful capacity since January of 2023. It's been a hot minute. I don't know that I remember even how to update this thing. I'm not sure what's going on here. But I'm really excited because I've long wanted to add this feature. I said I would do it over the summer, and then summer came and went. We are adding support for post-processing effects. And you might be asking yourself, like, what are post-processing effects? They're a cool little thing that our boy Denchi added to VTube Studio, where you can make your model render in peculiar ways, like this. For example, this is a fun one. This is one of my favorite ones. You get to be ASCII. That's a fun effect. Maybe not something you want to necessarily link to your heart rate, but it's a fun effect nonetheless. We can turn that one off. And then there are other cool ones. My personal favorite is, where is it? Line scanner, analog glitch. This one. So, like, you can crank this bad boy up, and you can have scanline jitter, dematerialize aggressively, that kind of thing. That's very aggressive. Maybe too aggressive. But then you can also, like... the way I'm envisioning somebody would use this, right, is... I guess you really can't see the UI here because I'm using a virtual camera. But so in VTube Studio, there are a bunch of sliders that you can mess with that are values 0 to 1. They control all these crazy visual effects that you're seeing here, like shaking a lot, color drift, that kind of stuff. And so I'm thinking the simplest form of UI that I could build here would be basically having one of the many custom parameters. So like if I fire this bad boy up, we can take a quick peek. Oh, that's fun. New version. Did you know? So like we can go to our custom parameters here, and we can see that we have a whole bunch of parameters that are based on your heart rate, right? So I'm thinking since these already fluctuate from 0 to 1, it would make sense to just have a little module in here where you can say drive parameter A of post-processing effect 1 with vts-heartrate linear. So, like, for example, as your heart rate goes up and up and up, if I had, like, this already set to a default value, I could go from 0 and gradually ease it in there as I get more and more, you know, nervous. Something like that. But being able to have a streamer dematerialize like this as their heart rate gets spiked up is basically my vision. That's what I want to have happen here. But this is a kind of interesting UI challenge because... the post-processing effect VFX parameters can kind of be anything. If we hop over to, say, the... where is it? Browser. Unity off. VS Code off. There we go. We get back a lot of information about them. There's like a ton. So, for example, one parameter from one post-processing effect... color grading here. We have a float, which has a ton of information. We have, I guess this one just has 2. But like, there's these giant chunks of data about them. And they can be like floats, which are numbers. They can be colors. They can be strings, booleans. And so having to build a UI that can interpret the information we get back from VTube Studio and dynamically build itself with like drop downs or sliders or whatever you need is going to be a challenge, I think. But it'll be a fun challenge, probably. Fortunately, we already kind of have a framework to work with in the app here, so it shouldn't be too hard. With that said, let's get cracking. Let me know if the background music is too loud or not loud enough. I'm assuming it's fine, but you never know with these kind of things. Maybe it's really quiet. I couldn't tell you. Actually, I think it is probably really quiet. There we go. Now somebody's going to come in later and be like, it's so loud. Beancrop. Hi, Tom. I love your work. Currently still learning how to implement some of them. We'll definitely use them in the future. Thank you. welcome aboard Beancrop, first time chatter. Great username, by the way. Beancrop, that's cool. Do I have a bean emoji? I feel like I might. Bean? No, I don't, unfortunately. Well, thank you. Welcome aboard. Yeah, today we're adding visual effects to this bad boy. Music is a bit loud. Thank you. Thank you. That's what I was waiting to hear. Surely this is good now. I'm looking at how much louder my voice is than the music, and I'm thinking, this is good. This is alright. If it's not, though, of course, continue to yell at me. That's what I'm here for. Okay. Yes. Molto bene. Okay. So, we go to our scene view here. The app, in general, is just a gigantic Unity UI. It's all canvas. So we have, like, scroll view. I literally have not updated this since January of 2023. That is not exaggeration. So I am a little forgetful on how I set things up here. We have our outputs module. We have new color selection. We have our parameters. Okay. So in here somewhere, we've got core. Probably in core. It's not in core. What? We got all our managers. Where is it then? Tools? No. Did I put everything in UI? I did put everything in UI, didn't I? Modules. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Output modules. So we're gonna have a new folder. VFX. Yeah, that seems correct. And so all of these will have like a module class. Seems pretty straightforward. Can I just paste that here? No. Okay, create a new C# script. I think that's just the naming scheme. Like whatever module. VFX, post-processing, you can use them interchangeably. Fire this bad boy up. Turn Unity off. Hopefully this is big enough that people can see it. With font size higher than 20, it's actually hard for me to read. So, I'm hoping this is sufficient. Okay, so let's see. Previously we have like modules like this. They just extend mono behavior, that's fine. There's no real interface or anything they implement. These seem like the correct imports to have. Cool, we'll get to text mesh later, that's fine. And so how am I visualizing this in my mind's eye? It's gonna be a little widget that's like gonna have a drop down. So we're gonna have a text mesh pro drop down. The drop down will say, hey, select which VFX whatever you want. It's readable but not understandable. I will do my best to make it both. Okay, so we're gonna have a drop down that's gonna be like, which effect do you want? Because there are many. And then from there, depending on what you pick, we'll have to populate things. So actually, let's double back a little bit. Let's go to our, I guess our like plugin, the actual core, the heart of the heart here, which is heartrate plugin. This guy right here. Collapse everything that's not important. I'll also have to think about how our save data is going to work later, but that's fine. I have a pattern for that. Member variables. Cool. Lifecycle, event callbacks, parameters, module creation, data saving. Cool, nice and organized. I love that for me. So in our lifecycle, I think. Okay, so we've got our connect method. And I think what I want, there's no need to get information about VFX like parameters every frame. There's a ton of information, first of all, that would be very bad for I/O, but also it's not going to change all that often. You don't need to like, it's not going to update, right? It's whatever the current version of VTube Studio has to offer. And the reason it's through an API is because that can change between versions. But there's no need to query multiple times per whatever. So I think what I want to do is here, we're going to add a function when you connect. So this is our connect function. And it says, what do you do on connect? We're connected. and we create all of our parameters, and we subscribe to all our events, and we're going to also query VFX, which is not a function that exists yet, but it can. So yeah, when we connect, we're going to do that, and we're going to save it to persistent memory so we can reference it later. So subscribe to events, cool, that's fine. On subscription error, set min, set max. Are these alphabetized? It's crazy. Where is oh, create all parameters. Okay, that makes sense. Private. Okay, so now that's a function that actually exists. I think we're just gonna do like a this dot plugin. Oh wait, this is a plugin, so we can do yeah, post-processing effect state list, and what are the parameters for this? I don't remember. I wrote this a long time ago. Fill a post-processing presets array. I think false. I don't care about presets. But we do want to set the effect. Oh, jeez. We do want to set the effects array. No filter. That's fine. Okay, so it's going to be false. Don't care about presets. True. Effects. Is that the Skeleton? Is that the Duskpaw? Hi, Duskpaw. Hello. Yeah, so, real quick again, for folks who are just shuffling in, VTube Studio, recently, like air quotes, added a thing called post-processing, which is a nice little section where you can make your model do weird, like, shader effects. It's not something that's baked into the way your model is illustrated, so the example that I was demonstrating, my favorite one is the analog glitch. So, like, for example, I can become fuzzy and dematerialize. This is a thing happening in VTube Studio. And more recently, Denchi, the guy who makes VTube Studio, exposed the ability to set all the little values, like how intense your jittering is, and like what your vertical jump is like and stuff like that, via the API. So what I want to do is, if you ever watched like Bochi the Rock, you know how she turns into like a static waveform when she gets really stressed out? I want VTubers to be able to do that. There's no reason not to. So that's basically the plan. Like, have the intensity of something like this driven by your heart rate. So when you're really, really freaked out in your horror game, you are actively dematerializing. The hand tracking is so good, I couldn't even do air quotes with my leap motion. Yeah, being able to do air quotes is probably the best part of having hand tracking. I do type a lot, so the hands don't come off the keyboard all too often, but yeah. So like the jittering is like one example of post-processing. Another one that you probably wouldn't want to drive with your heart rate, but you could. This is like a very cool effect in my opinion, is ASCII. I can become Dwarf Fortress, for example. Like, there we are. It's your boy, Skeletom. And so this is something you could, in theory, drive with your heart rate. I don't know why you'd want to, but it's kind of cool. Perfect VTuber over here. Yeah, so like the resolution of this. Yeah, the pixel effect too. Have you used the post-processing stuff? It's fun. There's a lot of toys to play with. What else is cool? Pixel effect, yeah, the one you were talking about. I think this one kind of messes up everything because it changes the color of my back. Oh no, it doesn't. Nice. Yeah, so like this is fun. I can just become a nice sepia tone. You can choose the colors. I chose sepia. You could do like a Game Boy palette if you wanted to. But yeah, like these are things you can control the intensity of, like the resolution, that kind of stuff with your heart rate is what I want to do. That's my plan. So the fun thing, though, as I was alluding to, is these are all very configurable. Denchi did a great job in making this accessible and configurable to whatever people would want. But that does mean from a building an app that can adjust any of them on the fly perspective, it's kind of a pain. He adds new ones all the time, and it's like not set in stone. So I have to build something that can ask VTube Studio about every possible configuration you can like tweak, and then dynamically create a user interface for it that will let users tweak said values. Yeah. Yeah, it's good, right? You can get creative with them. It's so nice. It truly, like, VTube Studio is the nicest tool that you'll ever use for anything. So where were we? Okay, yeah, we wanted to make a list of effects. Here, I don't think I need to filter with anything. I just want literally every effect, though it's good to know that you could. Effect filter, and then, yeah, okay, then we're good. So we have our on success. No. Boom, what happens if we get information back, and then our on stop. On failure, it'll do something else. Hi, Denchi. We were just talking about how cool you are. You can tell I've been using JavaScript lately because I did, wait, why doesn't it like this? Action. Oh, right. Needs an argument. There we go. We were talking all about you, Denchi. You're so popular. You're very good at this. We were saying how you've made VFX too configurable. You were too generous. And now it's a pain for me, because I'm going to have to build a UI that can digest all the information you feed me. And, like, figure out what needs to be done. If you see, like, my hands floating around randomly, I'm taking a sparkling tea off my windowsill and then popping it down the gullet here. VTube Studio doesn't quite know what to do with that, but yeah, that's why I'm like, looks like I'm scratching my window or something. Sparkling tea, yeah, it's a
wow,
sparkling green tea with pineapple juice. We love that for me. Wow. Okay, so yeah, Denchi, so sanity check here. I'm correct in that there's no real reason to do this get post-processing effect list, like, more than once per app boot up, right? Obviously, I know I don't want to do it every frame, because it's like thousands of lines of JSON, and that would probably just make my app chug. But also, I think you probably only ever need to do it, like, once, right? And then just keep the results in memory. It's not going to change for what I'm trying to do during runtime, I don't think. Because I'm just trying to find, like, what parameters exist for what effects, right? I don't really care about what their current values are or anything like that. So, parameters will not change. That's what I thought. So we just need to do this once. On success, we're going to take our success.data, which is VTS post-processing, this thing. We're just going to stash it in memory, I think. And then we have to iterate over this. Yeah, I don't really care about what the values are is the thing. My most, I almost said most valuable product, minimum viable product for what I'm trying to accomplish today will just be like, you have a drop down and it's like, which VFX thing do you want to edit? I'll pick like analog distortion. It'll then pull the information out of here where it'll say, okay, analog distortion has like 4 configurable parameters, and then it'll ask, what do you want them to be driven by from the app? Like then each parameter will have a drop down where you can choose the custom parameter. Hey Densuo. Where you can choose the parameter you want to drive it by. So like this one spits out parameters like your pulse, one that like, you know, oscillates, one that just goes up linearly, things like that. That's the plan. And then later I will probably add some way to add like dampening or remapping of values to those. But for like right now, it's literally just, can I make the pulse parameter that this generates directly correlate to the on or offness of the analog distortion, right? That's like what I have in my head. Minimum viable product right there. So, to get that done, we're gonna take this. Do I care about? I just need this, is actually what I need. I don't actually need the... None of this matters to me, I don't think. Yeah, sounds good, thank you. By the way, happy birthday, Denchi. I'm not like one of your idol girls who will sing you like happy birthday on stream. But happy birthday, Denchi. It's not your birthday anymore in Germany, but it was yesterday, I'm pretty sure. So, congratulations on being another year older. It's literally no exaggeration to say that the VTubing world would not be half as booming if not for you. We would literally just be at the whims of the corporate overlords with their proprietary software. But man of the people, Denchi Soft over here, making it happen for your common man. We love that. A 6-month birthday like I did, and not a single part of it was correct. What does this mean? A 6-month birthday? I'm not clear. Duskball. It doesn't make sense. The birthday lasted 6 months? You had a birthday every 6 months? You're aging at a speed twice that of a normal human? What are we doing here? I don't know where I want to stash this, but I do need to stash this somewhere. Probably above the parameters. Well, okay, hold on. So there's a story. Are you going to share the story? If you don't want to, that's fine. It's, you know, maybe something you'd rather save for a different day. That's totally fair. Okay, so these are like prefabs down here, I think. So we'll get to that when we get to that. So we're going to do this dot VFX. God, stop autofill. VFX list equal to success.data dot post-processing effects. There we go. Sydney and Colton really wanted me to go to Indy as a player. Okay. Zach convinced them that my birthday was in March, so they paid for my trip to spring. Oh, your birthday's in September. Soon. They stuck to their guns. So, okay, so what I'm reading from this is that we should get you to Baltimore for your birthday, because it's in September. Right? That part. So, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you to Baltimore. Are you applying to Baltimore? I'm assuming you're applying to Baltimore. We're talking about Pokemon here, folks. Yeah, Baltimore Regional coming up in like a month and a week, 5 weeks, something like that. Start of a brand new format. Nobody knows what they're doing. It's going to be the best regional that we've ever had because it's all the beloved. Like there's been power deflation in the Pokemon scene. Up until now, you've been able to use the powerful legendary Pokemon, Urshifu, Landorus, the brothers Calyrex, all of them fair game. And then, starting in September following the World Championship, instead of saying, yes, now you can use a second powerful legendary Pokemon, the Pokemon Company in their actually genuine, and I do mean this genuinely, infinite wisdom, has said, we're going back to where it all started. We're going back to a regional dex format. You can't use any legendaries anymore. Starting in September, you will start from square one again, and you will use, like, Meowscarada. Meowscarada's coming back. Everybody loves to see Meowscarada. I fought a Garganical on the ladder the other day, and I thought nature was healing. We're seeing the Salt Giant. He's coming back. He's ready to stall 24 turns of Salt Gear. It's awesome. No more do we have to worry about Miraidon setting electric terrain and one-shotting everything through resistance. It's fine. The power levels are back to normal. They've reversed power creep by simply outlawing legendary Pokemon. And the Baltimore Regional, happening September 14th and 15th, is going to be the first regional of this brave new world of format, where we have all of the knowledge we've learned about how to play the game and how to use terrestrialization from the past 2 years of play, but we're back to being limited to a regional dex of Pokemon that we can use. So you're going to have your funny little, like, low power level guys, but players will have absolute murderous intent with how to use them. They'll know what they're doing. And I think that's very exciting. I think you're going to see strategies executed really, really well. Notably for Scarlet and Violet, we only ever had, prior to this, just the one regional dex event in San Diego, the very first tournament of the game, which was pretty cool. But then immediately following that, they changed regulation and said you can start using Paradox Pokemon, and that's less cool. Who just gave me the follow? Kibu-chan? Is that what I'm reading? Thank you. Welcome aboard, Kibu-chan. We're programming here. I mean, kind of. I'm talking about Pokemon right now, but it kind of comes part and parcel with the channel. How are you doing? I hope you're having a nice time. We're updating a plugin that I built for VTube Studio that lets you control aspects of your model from your heart rate. I don't have one of those, but you know, if I did, I'd be able to make my model do all sorts of cool stuff. The goal right now is to get visual effects to be able to be triggered by your heart rate. I don't remember what I was doing. But welcome aboard, Kibu-chan. Thank you, thank you. Okay, we query for our VFX parameters. That brings us here. I'll give myself a to-do. Actually, handle this error. This is not a sufficient way to handle the error, but it will at least tell me an error happened. So we'll get there. And all we're doing is just stashing the lists. That's cool. At some point, I'm going to need to make that list accessible. Very new to programming and don't understand a lot. What language? Or like, what's your... What language is actually not a good question. It doesn't matter. What is your goal with programming? Are you going to like try and build websites? Do you want to make games? The two are kind of more related than you might think. But I'm interested to know for what reason you are new to programming. What made you decide to dive in? What made you want to talk to computers more than you already do? Let's see. Okay, so we have that. We have it saved. I'm gonna need some way to get it later. But I don't know, like, what's in here? This is a list of the effect, and then it has all of its. This is just lists upon lists upon lists. So we have a list of post-processing effects, and then each post-processing effect has a list of the things you can modify about it. So this is a good start. We're fine here. Making a plugin someday for my VTuber childs mainly to make things easier and funnier. Ah, so you're like a illustrator or a rigger or both? That's cool. I like that. That's fun. Okay, so we've got our thing here. I need to make this accessible, so we're gonna do get return new. Oh, oops. Public. I'm in the zone right now. Return. That's a thing you can do, right? Yeah. Okay, so we make a new list every time we query for it so we don't accidentally modify the existing list. That's fine. You are a rigger, that's awesome. That's a talent I simply don't have. My wonderful rigging is done in part by my wife, Bonbons, and in part by one of my best friends, Lua Lucky. Lua did the hands, Bon did like everything else, which is nice. And the art is also by my wife, Bonbons, so that's fun. I love having hand tracking though, it's fun. Okay, so we have a list of VFX, that's cool. In our VFX module here, what we're gonna want to do is on... How do I do it elsewhere? How do I, like, populate these things? Let's look at our hotkey module, for example. We have a refresh hotkey list button. That's kind of cool. What do we do? We have a list of hotkeys. Oh, interesting. See, okay. I'm coming back to this app with, like, 2 years of wisdom in my mind that I didn't have when I was making this originally. So this is similar where you're going to have a drop-down. Drop-down is populated by an asynchronous method. Reload the expression that should be selected from a profile. What the fuck was I doing here? I don't remember. But I'm seeing that every individual, based on what I'm seeing here, every hotkey module, which you can have many of, has its own independent list of hotkeys that it's, I guess, querying for. And that doesn't make any sense. They should all share one. This could be a static property, which would be shared across everything of the same class. So that might be something I come back to later, because this is silly. What are we doing? Actually, no, this one makes sense. This is rising and falling edges. What are we doing elsewhere? It's whatever this is talking about. Dropdown is populated by an async method. We load the expression that should be selected from a profile load in this buffer, and wait till the async. Oh wait, no, that kind of makes sense because we know what we want this dropdown to be when we load the save data, but we don't have that as a valid value yet necessarily. Okay, this gets a pass. That didn't really make a ton of sense, but maybe this isn't a good thing to look at. And where do I query these things, actually, is what I was wondering. Set hotkey to index, refresh hotkey. So where is this? Refresh will drop down. On edit threshold, okay. We've got our save data, that's cool. What am I cooking? So my goal is to be able to update my little heart rate plugin. This, where's he? This guy. Where did he need to go? There we go. This guy, to be able to control post-processing visual effects based on your heart rate. Right now it can do things like trigger expressions and hotkeys and tint parts of your model, but there is a new feature to VTube Studio called VFX, or post-processing. They're used interchangeably. They let you do stuff like, where is it? Analog glitch, this one. I can like make myself dematerialize. I want to be able to control the intensity of something like this with your heart rate. So when you get really scared, you can actually like phase out of existence. I think it's a cool idea. I hope that answers the question. So, okay, so what I was trying to figure out here is this obviously gets the list of things to put in its dropdown somewhere, and I was trying to figure out where that's happening. I see that there is a refresh hotkey list. Where does this get called from? From the plugin itself, okay. Where? Show me. This is happening every frame? What's wrong with me? Why did I do this? Huh? What? Why would I do this? This is poor. This is an example of something I wrote 2 years ago for sure. Oh, I'm not even showing my code. That's terrible. I'm not showing my work. I was trying to figure out where my hotkey module was calling to get its dropdown populated, because that's something I care about doing. Similarly for VFX. And apparently I'm just doing it every frame, which I don't think is good. At all. Not at all. We're talking about something called a refreshable dropdown here. This seems like I had plans to make behavior all fit together. But it never came to be. And it still won't come to be. That's fine. I'm gonna say that we just do this on... not start, because we do need to do it every time we spin this thing up. Oh, what the hell, actually. So let's see, we're gonna make our function just like we had it over here. Eventually this could become an interface, probably, which is, I think, what I was alluding to with this refreshable drop-down business. We're going to have a clone and delete function. These are both to-dos. That's fine. We don't need to check the condition. Refresh. Yeah, okay, refresh VFX list. So what was I doing in the hotkey one? We keep our current index, this.dropdown.value, hotkey. We use this anywhere? Interesting. What was it do? I don't remember like any of this. I'm just staring at code I wrote in 2022 or whatever. And I'm like, why did I do this? Why? And I have to try and not let perfect be the enemy of good here, and try and fight the urge to just fix it. Because then I'll never get the new thing done. And the new thing is more important to me right now, because this clearly works for some reason. But not for a reason I can explain easily. Okay, so we're gonna do... Oh, that's cool. I feel like maybe they weren't spamming though. Hold on. Cursed Ditto feels like a Pokemon. Somebody just got deleted. Hold on. I have to manually intervene now. Sorry, bot's gone rogue. Was it just a viewbot thing? Can you tell? I should make you a moderator of my channel, Denchi, actually. There's no reason not to. I didn't see the message. I just see it says they banned Cursed Ditto, which I'm like, oh, Ditto, that's a Pokemon. That might be a viewer who just maybe mistakenly posted a link. Though I think you can just post links. I won't punish you for that. Speaking of Pokemon again, I just remembered. Looking at old codes like a murder mystery where you're the murderer and the detective. Yeah, it's true. I'll never use better TTP. By the way, speaking of Pokemon, I forgot to mention, since the last time I've streamed, I've added this emote to my channel that you can just have if you are a subscriber. It is a very important emote to me. So true. Oh, also a thing that's happened since the last time I streamed. Hold on, this is really important. VS Code off, browser on. I have a website. Have you guys seen this? Did you know? Did you know that I made a website? I used to just have a shitty little card that was like, Skeletom, here's his card. You're so right. This is why I need to moderate you, Denchi. You need to become an admin of my channel. It is linked below, but thank you. See, I gotta make you an admin of the channel. But the cool thing is, I set it up so that when I'm streaming, it just embeds the stream on my page. So like, we can watch me right now. You can hear me. Well, you can't because I have. Whatever turned off. So like, this only shows up when I'm live. Otherwise, it's hidden, which is nice. And it's cool. And I've got a little marquee that says if I'm online or not. And the really cool thing, and this was relevant last week when I was on somebody else's channel, I have this marquee and embed set up to point to wherever I currently am. So last week I was on somebody else's channel to do Pokemon trivia, which I won, by the way. Important note. So I was able to redirect my website. So if you go to skeletom.net/stream, it would take you to their channel. So like, if you wanted to know that I was live somewhere, it just points you to where I am. Right now, I'm here. But if I were on like Millennium Cyborg's channel for a collab where we play Subculture again, something like that, I'd point to her channel. I don't have it working for YouTube yet, just because I don't know how the embed there works, but I could conceivably do it. So yeah, cool website. It's got information about all of my projects, which are innumerable, and my other pithy thoughts, which are much more innumerable. For example, I recently released the 2.3 of vts-heartrate, the thing that powers the plugin that we're building today. There's a cool picture of me using the analog distortion feature that I like a whole lot. You can click this link to go get the latest version. I have a little write-up about what's in it, which is cool, so like patch notes. It links, hey, this blog post is about this guy right here, vts-heartrate. What's vts-heartrate? Well, we can learn all about it. It's a C# client interface for creating VTube Studio plugins with the official VTube Studio API for use in Unity and other C# runtime environments. That's cool. Wow, it's got all these features. Background, all this information. VTube Studio, plugin support, the developer, Denchi himself. More creative folks, all sorts of cool stuff. I've got my like little tutorial that shows how to use it. Stuff that was made with it, you know, accolades, etc., etc. Very cool. I'm in a web ring. I forgot to mention that. I'm in a web ring. I'm in the VTubers on NeoCities web ring. I've got all my fun little badges along the bottom as well. It's nice. Now you want to make a... Don't you have a website? Yeah, like what do you call this, brother? Huh? Is this not your website? Huh? Yeah, well... I guess that's true. You want a personal one. People just think of you as the guy who makes VTS, because currently that is your largest claim to fame. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say. I know her! She doesn't look like that anymore, but I know her. That's fun. Yeah, I guess that is your claim to fame, but you are more than VTS, it's true. Does she still have Twitch emotes? Hold on. She does! That's awesome. Great website. Anyway, yeah, so I have a website now. Check it out, skeletom.net, like it says across the top. You can check out all of my projects, my blog posts, etc. All sorts of cool stuff that I've worked on. I finally have a home for my Ribbon Master tracker. I built this thing and used it 6 months ago, and then people have asked me about it, and I've just been like, oh yeah, you know, it's like on my website, kind of. But it wasn't, because I didn't have a website before. I just have to manually link them. But now, it's like actually straight up embedded here. You can like mess around with it. You can see how it like behaves responsibly and things like that, because it's just a little widget. You can click on the other guys. You can check them off and see how it increments the checkbox. It's great, powerful. I can do so much by just having a website that I have total control over. I can tell people that I worked on this. This was fun. These girls were nice to work with. They're talented. They're doing quite well for themselves. I had to build code that was written in Java 6 for a compiler that doesn't exist anymore. That was fun. Almost thought we weren't going to be able to do it. It was going to be my fault, but we pulled through. Put more stuff on your own site. Yeah, do it. You should. Millennium Cyborg, by the way, is the ringleader of the web ring at the bottom here. You go to VTubers on NeoCities. This is like they're doing, and their website looks like this, which is quite cool. Though it is you were correct, it's a bit barren. I like that when you hover, you get sunglasses and also everything shifts by like 2 pixels. I think that's cool. Under construction. I love that. But yeah, you can see it's got all the important trappings of a website. Really large banner at the bottom, huge portrait that does something when you hover, static image background. It's true, it is still your old model, that's correct. But yes, they're the web ring leader here. I wrote this giant-ass blog post, and I don't think anybody's read because I never mentioned that I wrote it. But it's like, yeah, I'm going to add usage stats to my Pokemon overlay tool, because that seems like a cool thing for a machine to be able to do. No reason not to. And then I talk about, like, also wanting computer vision to just read my team sheets for me. That would be cool. Ain't gonna happen, but it would be cool. And we'll get to that someday. But yeah. Next step for this, I've got 2 plans for this. Hats off to all of you, thank you. I've got 2 plans for this. So one is that I want to add a hit counter to the bottom of the website, because that's like old-timey, and I'd actually like to know if people are using or visiting this website to any capacity. So just add a little hit counter to the very bottom. Kind of classic. The other is to add an RSS feed for this, which I don't know how to do off the top of my head, but I would make it by hand, so that you could just subscribe to this website with your RSS browser of choice, and get updates whenever I post a new blog post. And then this could finally replace, like, co-host and to some capacity Twitter for me, which would be nice. Just finally have a place you... Thank you. +1 on it, because you've hit me, I understand. Yeah. You're so right. Anyway. Get very excited about Well, it's because every 6 months social media looks like it's about to collapse, and RSS is the only way to keep us connected. It's like the original strand type media, where we have like the string of fate through RSS holding us all together. But then social media doesn't collapse because it's too big to fail, and we're all back to tweeting or whatever the fuck, and it's fine. We just grit our teeth and bear it, you know? So, that's why every 6 months you get excited about RSS. What the fuck was I doing? I don't remember. I've made like 0 tangible progress. We're gonna say... what's RSS? I don't remember what it stands for. Let's find out together, actually. RSS is just a way to aggregate changes to websites that are not in any way similar. So, like, you could have an RSS feed for your friend's travel blog, for CNN, for Japanese auctions. Really simple syndication. Thank you, Millennium Cyborg. Yes. Yeah, so it's just a way that websites, it's a standard protocol that websites can use to report what's new about them. And then you can use an RSS feed to collect all those from various websites and put them in a little browser for you. Is that what it stands for? Yes. There you go. We've all learned something today. So the goal would be that when I make like new blog posts, you could just get an RSS update about them. Which would be great. Which would be great. Okay, please, I gotta do this. I don't care about the hotkey, drop down clear options, that's cool. Okay, so then we're gonna say... I don't need to keep a snapshot of it. I don't know why we have these hotkeys. Oh, because we get it every... Interesting. Wait, no, that's not readable. I don't need to do that, it's fine. VFX, so we're gonna say... I almost wrote const, which is not what you want to do here. It'd be, or it's, gonna be a list. Manager.plugin. Instance.plugin. That. This should be a list of post-processing effects. That's cool. We can do for... I don't even remember how to write C# anymore. For each. I've been doing nothing but JavaScript for hobbyist stuff for my website and work, but I don't remember the syntax of this at all. For each type of thing, post-processing effect. Effects, of effects, in effects. In effects, is that right? Yeah, okay. We're gonna say, we're gonna make an option for our dropdown, which we can do value, okay. Oh, I see. Some code to burst jobs this weekend is the latest. The least C#. Yeah, I hated that. That's why I stopped updating Unity. I was just like, I don't understand anymore. I'm getting old. Very fast though. That's cool. Effect names. Say effects we're gonna do. I do want these to be indexed by enum mode. we're gonna stick with internal ID for now. Okay, and we didn't care about our current index. I don't remember why we had that saved. Okay, that's how we get which hotkey we want to set ourselves to. So we were waiting to try and load a previous hotkey. We're going to set that hotkey to this. Else we just set it to whatever. Interesting, okay. We'll come back to that, I suppose. So now back up here, we are going to hotkeys. FX, not CFX, VFX. The other thing is I gotta try and see if I can avoid floundering such that I repeat bad patterns because I'm trying to follow an existing pattern. So like I'm really curious why I query for hotkey data, or like why I store it this way. I do really kind of want to refactor this. Hello, how's it going, Eidolon? Yeah, that's fine. So we have a prefab, that is the like thing that we spawn multiple instances of, and then we have a list of all the ones that we currently have assigned to our kind of space right now. Not important. This because we'll need to iterate over these when we want to save and such. Cool, okay. So then we're gonna do the Samleton. VTS-heartrate? Yeah, it's update, yes. I have not touched this thing since 2023. And I'm paying the price for my foolishness, I think. Okay, so each one of these things that will have a list of things to query, we refresh all the time. Probably don't need to, but that's fine. I will sort this out later. I don't know what these sorts do. That's interesting. But yeah, we'll need to... kind of apply. Just like apply color. Interpolated value. This is going to be interesting because I'm going to kind of want to pass in all of these parameters, actually. So I'm trying to see if there's any collection I have of all of these things that I could just pass them in. I think the answer is yes. So hold on, if I do this stuff at the end, this is gonna get so goofy. Okay. what if we pass in... Wait, I think that's actually what we want. This is fine. So now we go to our VFX module here. We're going to add our apply function. We have a list of all the possible parameters that we can need to do stuff with, and I'm not sure what we want to do with that yet. Challenging stuff, but we'll get there when we get there. So now going back to Unity, we need to like carve out some real estate here. We have our expression, modules, scripts, UI, prefabs, modules. Why not? I don't understand why I sorted things this way. This makes no sense. No, not a script. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm so much better at this shit now. Oh no, I also can't do this, I think. Music is just a touch loud. I think it ducks when I speak, shouldn't it? It should at least. I'll never be able to figure out how to balance music. It's impossible. It's impossible. How's that? So that's good and fair. What was I doing? Core. I've lost where I was. It should be ducking, but maybe it is just too subtle. Or maybe I turned it off. Let's find out. Ducking. I do have ducking on. That's crazy. It doesn't feel like it, you're right. Oh, I think I turned it way down. Like, there we go. Now I have ducking on. There we go. Why did I sort things like? I don't understand. Okay. It's fine. So we're gonna... Open this guy. Perfect. Okay, so now we're actually into the meat and potatoes here, which is good. So we're gonna remove our hotkey module. We're gonna add our VFX module. We have our drop down. So this one can go away, we don't need that. That, and I don't think we need that. The text I'm not sure what we'll do with, but we'll figure something out for that. That's like a way to describe what happens when you minimize this. So we have our effects drop down, like such. Then I can go to our heart rate manager here, or our heart rate manager, plugin manager, this guy. Beautiful, beautiful lists of nothing but prefabs. So now we have this lovely lad. Such. Autosave has been temporarily disabled. I don't like that. We're trying to replace or create a prefab from the instance plugin manager that references a missing script. Interesting. I shouldn't. That's bad. And this is why version control kicks ass, because I have no idea if I just broke something by removing that, but I'm on a different Git branch, so it doesn't matter. If I broke something, I can always roll it back. There we go. That's fine. Strange. I really don't know what that was all about. That's okay. So now I want to go into here, which I think I already have open. Not my update. Module creation. We have a create and destroy. Copy these pretty much wholesale. Create, destroy, sort. I don't know what this was all about. That's fine. We're going to need to do that in a second. That's fine. Making a save data class. Instantiate VFX module. It's done. That's fine. Okay, that makes sense. Destroy. Oh, okay, that's what it's sort of been with. It's probably something useful to have later. Probably alphabetically is how I'd want to sort these. But we'll get there when we get there. Okay, so the outstanding issue right now is that I don't have a save data class for our VFX module, which is important. I need to have that. That's how we save these things to and from JSON. So let's copy that from our hotkey stuff. VFX module. Bottom here. always got to be careful about what you want to put in a piece of save data. I think generally you want to think about save data first when building an application. If you try and shoehorn it in later, it will become difficult. You want to kind of have a data-driven design. We're going to have our effect ID, and that's really all we need right now. We'll get to the rest of it when we get to it. Interesting. Okay. Also a big to-do. Oh, I see, okay. It's so confusing. Selected. Selected effect. We just want to get what we have out of our dropdown. So this is annoying. Unity dropdowns are like indexed by a number, and there's no real easy way to get the text out of them, I don't think. So we would do like... There should be a way to get the value out of this. It's just an index, yeah. So then you need to use that index to get a value out of our list here. Which is why... Oh, that's annoying. Okay. I can't believe I wrote this stuff on stream earlier. Okay, so what are we even doing here? When we're trying to get our selected hotkey, previously we would say if the drop-down value is less than the amount of hotkeys you have, then you can say you safely get it out of the list and you get the ID. This is so confusing. This feels really fragile also. This depends on things being in the same order every time. We're getting our hotkey ID based on its position in the list from a drop-down. This feels fragile. I don't like this. Ugh. That also explains why we were saving the list of effects as a member variable and not just doing it in memory here. Much to think about. So we could do that. The like that or something, I think. And then we would go in here and say X. That's fine. For now, this for a prototype, that's fine. Okay, so now if I run this, I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't quite remember where I am in terms of completion here. If I run this, what happens? Oh, I didn't add an actual button to do the thing. That's cool that they think there's a new version. I need to add support to here, where we create a new module. So there's one other thing I need to do. I don't remember where that is, though. Yeah, it's a good plus, right? It's a nice big button. We love buttons. Create a new module. This guy right here. Hotkey. Yeah, exactly, right? I had a very strong philosophy about my use of color and shape for this application that I actually really stand by. Output. X title. Cool. Create. Okay, there we go. So for example, everything in this app that is green is like a constructive action, right? Like it will add something, you make a new little widget, you go download something, well and good in that regard. Blue is all informative. It'll open like a tooltip, or on settings it will open the README, for example. Red is a destructive action. It'll stop the server. It will, delete your module here. It'll whatever you need to do. So I click on the green button. I don't have a string for this. That's fine. I click this. It creates a labeled hotkey trigger, but it does correctly populate the dropdown of all of these options that we have, which is perfect. This is exactly what I want. We have succeeded in the most incremental possible step, kind of getting a dropdown to dynamically populate based on values from a thing we get back. So that's cool. If I choose one of these, is just okay. It doesn't even save. So never mind. We're not there, because I think it's getting overwritten every frame. Why did I do it like this? We're not there yet. And this goes into the, asinine... I love the Clavio emote, that's great. That's huge. Tremendous, even. This goes into why, the, hotkey one has, such weird stuff going on all the time. We remember... We have, the set hotkey function. Okay, well, let me think with this. So we say we want to set hotkey to this hotkey ID. That's fair. We get the index, hotkey to index. Weird, but fine. If the index is less than 0, that shouldn't happen ever. It means we didn't find it. So we say we're waiting for it. That's okay. Maybe it'll show up later. Else, if the count is greater than 0 and greater than our index, we can set the value to that index. And we're no longer waiting for something. Okay, that makes sense, actually. We'll cannibalize that, that's fine. back to that later. Oh, that's very funny how we do it there. I'm remembering stuff from 2 years ago that I hate, actually. So, here, the way we find which index the... Okay. I see. I see now, actually. So I was talking about how things were really fragile before, because it seemed to rely on them being in a specific index order in the list, right? They didn't actually. What we were doing is we're looking to see if we can find an item in the dropdown that contains the text, because all we have when we go through these options is like the text of the option, right? It's that or its index, and there's no real other information strapped to those things. So I'm saying, does it contain your hotkey ID? And the answer is yes, it does, even though visually you would never know it. Because... Where is it? I saw it earlier and I was like, that's weird. Right here. Okay, so the hotkey name is... looks like whatever type of hotkey it is, so like, it'd be like expression, item scene. Then, in size 0 font, but it's still there, we have the actual ID, which is like a long UUID. It's like a hash of numbers and letters. And then in readable font, we have the display name of the hotkey. Yeah, okay. This is a solid trick that I'm actually proud of, because it lets you basically encode whatever the hell you need in a basic string, especially if whatever the hell you need is not something that would appear under normal organic circumstances, such as, say, a 32-character long random string of letters and numbers punctuated by a hyphen. That would just never appear organically. I guess if you named your hotkey the exact UUID of a different hotkey, this would break, because it would find 2 matches, or possibly find the wrong match first. I could also probably... Oh, well, no, I can't really. There's nothing I can't stop somebody from literally just making it whatever I search for here. But also, the odds that a user would do that are 0, and they would be doing it on purpose to mess with me. Like, there's no other reason a person would ever do that. So it's fine. This is smart, and I'm going to actually do it here as well. But this makes sense. And I think that was cool. So we're going to do... I don't need that, but I do like keeping that as such. So we have our internal ID, which I think is also like what I kind of want to display here. Unless I can do like effect enum ID, maybe. I don't know if that'll just make it a number or not. I guess we'll find out. In which case I might reverse them. The internal ID might be what I want to display. That's fine. So set effect is effect to index. Okay. I think this is an ID. What do we do with this later? It is an ID. Okay. Wait, how is that just the ID? Because the text. You get the text, which contains everything, I would think. Not just the ID. I'll think about that, I guess, off stream. We want to do this. Sorry that this is like copy paste the stream, but we'll make new stuff happen soon. I have to set kind of the infrastructure, set effect, and then once this is out of the way, cool stuff will happen more, I think. Like such. I have to think so hard about how I want to refactor all this stuff, though. Hey, Cupid, how's it going? I was just showing off my website, which you have a very cool banner on, one of those 31 by 88s. How's it going? It's not this stuff. I'm okay. I'm doing neutral. I'm mad that I wrote code so bad so many years ago. But to err is human. Okay, let's pop up Unity. Cool. Yes, make a new thing. Have to make text for that. This is not working now. That's awesome. Format exception. Index 0 base must be right, yes. Of course, sorry. I understand immediately the problem. The text that I wanted to print out here, this would be 0 and 1 now. So the goal for today is I'm trying to get the ability to drive weird little VFX that are in VTube Studio with your heart rate. Previously, you could do like expressions and other triggers, hotkey triggers, but I want to be able to get... Okay, cool. Color grading. Cool. And can I choose a different one? Yes! It works. It remembers what you had and puts it back. Perfect. This is a tremendous win. Okay. So, like, Kippen, if you're not familiar, I'm not sure, because I know you have your own, like, proprietary solution. So, like, an example of VFX would be for, like, say, analog glitch. I would want to be able to increase my jitter as my heart rate goes up. This is just a thing VTube Studio can do. So, like, as I get more and more stressed out, this could go, you know, way up. And, you know, you've got, like, crazy color drift and stuff, like, you know, I'm bugging out. And then as I go back to being normal, I'm not nervous anymore. Something like that, I think, is kind of what I want to do. So the first step is I have to get a list of all the effects that you can possibly have. And then select it from a drop-down. Cool. That's fine. And then based on what you select, it's going to have to populate this UI with other things. Which I haven't decided how that's going to look yet. But we will get there. We'll get there. It's going to be cool. I agree. My goal is to make people be able to dematerialize like Bochi the Rock when she gets stressed out. But baby steps. Okay. So we can go back to our VFX module, open the prefab for that. The title is output hotkey. This is going to be output VFX. VFX tooltip is going to be... I gotta add that to this as well. And, you know, tooltip button edit. Seven. And here's how I do all of my tool tipping, which is kind of cool. So we have all of our inputs, outputs, hotkey. So I have a pretty strong localization stack set up that I've made myself that I'll showcase in 2 seconds. We'll do output VFX, output VFX title. I can just tell my little pop-up that I want to display something with this title and this tooltip text, and it will just do it. You can also specify buttons very configurably. I'm really proud of this. So, like, my show pop-up function here says, okay, what's the title? What's the body? And then do we have any buttons we want to click? And you can just make a list of pop-up options. You can give them text, indexed by a key. You can give them a color, and then what happens when you click on them. And you can define that all in line here, which is kind of like a scripting language in that regard. Not really what C# wants to do, but it does get checked against the compiler, which is nice. So like here, you'd go to like a different website or something, or open another tool up here, primarily. Learn about what Pulsoid is, for example, very helpful. But yeah, that's pretty straightforward. And then I can show you even further beyond. We close this. Here's how I pull in all of my text from... or for this. I have a Google Sheet, which has a column for the key, then in English and Japanese. Japanese is not done yet. It was something I started a long time ago, and I did not have time to finish. Please mind the eye searing red. That was stuff that I said still needed to be translated into Japanese. But then whenever I need to get a piece of text, I just say, what's the key? And we have an index for what language to look for. So it would be system setting data open save data. Index of language is 1. Okay, that's open save data. Perfect. And like you could expand this for however many languages you need. It's just a big flat file. So what was I trying to do? I want to add output in here. Insert one row above. So like output would be VFX title. VFX config. It is a cool setup. It served me quite well. This is definitely something I have a holdover from when I was prototyping games all the time. But it's very configurable. I'm very happy with this. It's also on my GitHub if anybody ever wants to do this. And then in Unity, I have a single button that I've added as an editor extension that lets me just pull down the CSV here and overwrite an existing file. To do. There we go. I'll hopefully remember to do that later. So now back in Unity, I can pull down... I don't think you'll be able to see it because it's just like a Windows thing. But I have a little option here to pull latest CSV. It'll do that. In the bottom it says CSV updated successfully. And now if I run this... Yes, I know there's a new version. Very cool. I go to create this. VFX config, it shows up. It doesn't say no string. So we can click that. It knows it's a VFX config. My tooltip is still wrong, but that's okay. I think I didn't save what I was working on over in VS Code land. Right? Oh, no. I know why I did that, because I didn't update my module. I didn't finish it yet, because there was no enum. That's so handy. Yeah. It's just a little... Like, I wish I could show it on screen, but it doesn't get captured. It is literally, like, on the toolbar up top. It's under Tools, CSV Tools. I can either I point it to a file and give it the Google Drive link, and then I have a button that just pulls it down and overwrites the file in place. So I can edit it from the cloud, wherever. I don't have to like manually download it. Very easy for version control, and it just saves it as a flat CSV. Just do a screen capture, yeah. Just desktop capture, raw dog it, right? We love that. What was I doing here? Okay, this is my tooltip button. Is title, tooltip button. This is not output hotkey, this is output VFX. So now if I do this, outputs, click, VFX, cool. Obviously, don't mind that it hasn't been saving these in between. I have not configured the ability to actually save them yet. We click on backlight or whatever, cool. Tooltip, to do. VFX config. This would be a nice explanation about how VFX works. I'd probably link to the VTube Studio README and be like, I don't even know where to begin with this. Just read what Denchi wrote. It's very cool, we promise. Okay. So we've almost made some kind of tangible progress in an hour and a half. We have a drop-down that populates automatically. So now that we have one of these, we're going to want to reference that back and get a list of what kind of parameters we can modify with this. And then hopefully, ultimately, be able to drive one of those, link them to a parameter that we have from these guys over here. One of these. Because these are based on your heart rate. So I think that would be cool. Okay. Okay. We're getting somewhere. If I click this copy, does this work? No. Why doesn't that work? That's interesting. Copy button should do what? Copy button should do this. Cloned. And then my delete button I need to hook up to delete. There we go. And then for the back to our VFX module, we had a little function that was like figure out minified text. Let's fill that in right now as well. Where was that? It was like get minimized text, this thing right here. And that was, where was that written? Underneath set, that's fine. Oh, let me pull VS Code back up. Cool, okay, and then where does this get called? Oh, right here. Now back in Unity. Incremental progress. I should change my internal version here so it stops telling me about that. There is not a new version. Okay, so if we minimize this, it'll say, hey, this is for color grading. Isn't that cool? Same like here, it'll say it's like for whatever expression, which is handy. So you know which VFX config this is. That's cool. Okay, cool. If I clone, that still doesn't work. Why? Well, this one does. Interesting. Why doesn't that do anything? Because I didn't fill these in. That's why. There we go. Now it'll work. That's cool. Okay, so we're getting places. So now, when you trying to think of the way to do this in a way like. I've kind of like boxed myself into a corner here where this is updating its list of options like every frame for some reason. I'm definitely going to refactor this off stream. I don't like this. I don't think it's necessary in the same way that it is for hotkeys and expressions because you could modify those whenever. So it kind of does need to keep repolling the model, but here it doesn't. So what I want to do is when you select one of these, on value change, I guess, it would redraw effect. Okay, well, for starters, let's do this. Let's do this. Let me make sure I understand what I'm tossing around here. So I think the effect ID is just the text of the dropdown. So like, we'll look in Unity for a second here. I make one of these, VFX config, and it's color grading, okay. Not terribly useful. How can I leverage that? Because I need some way to take this thing that we've selected, relate it back to the list we have earlier, and get a list of every property on it. And then do something with that list. Much to think about. Much to think about. This is still happening every frame. I don't want to have to rebuild the whole UI every frame. That seems bad. Okay, hold on. So back to Unity here. We're gonna need to do... We've got our little panel. Has the effect drop down, that's cool. But we're gonna need now another panel. We're gonna nest these bad boys. And this is gonna have not only one of these. Parameters list. So what this is going to do is we're going to have like what's the right way to do this? If I shrink this, okay, they're top left anchored. That's fine. We're now going to make a third panel. UI panel here. Height of 30, 330. And this is going to have a horizontal sorting group, I think. Like that. So you go in here. And then we need some text. Like that. Here. Okay. Maybe smaller, I'm not sure. 20, something like that. And then we want our that. I think. Oh, I see. That's not good. Okay, that part's fine. So this would be like and I gotta think about how I want this UI to look. But basically the idea would be like you'd have like your list of parameters and then it would fill this up. I don't like that this at the bottom is... Oh, okay, just need to update. Yeah, so you'd have like your list of effects. It'd be like parameter A, B, C, and then you'd choose from the drop-downs here which... what am I trying to say? Which custom parameter, tracking parameter you want to use to control that from. So now we've got some more prefabs we need to save out over here. So we have like that. So then these need a script that populates the little title here. I don't think these get localized. That's fine. At least not yet. We have our effects drop down. This will get populated. We have our list. Okay. I'm going to consider it a win for the purposes today because I'm getting kind of tired. If I can get this drop down, like when you choose a effect, if it will give you a like it'll update the little widget to have a list of every parameter you can possibly configure, even if they don't do anything yet. We're gonna get there later. It's fine. I'll probably be back at this on Thursday if I had to guess. That's my pledge to you. Also, I can just feel my brain beginning to shut down as I look at old code. And I kind of want to refactor this. I'm like, don't think I can be productive with the way I've got this set up on stream right now. So I kind of want to just get to a good stopping point and call it there. So we're going to need a field. I think that's the way we do these. This would be like the third list parent. I need to get the prefab, parameter entry, prefab, something like that. So let's make a script for that real quick that we can slap on. We will make that do literally anything later, that's fine. Effect parameter entry, cool, you are now an effect parameter. This guy has its list. Okay. So what we want to do is set effect ID. Yeah, there's just like no clean way to do this because I'm refreshing every frame is the thing. I need to figure out a way to make this not constantly tearing itself down and repopulating. And I need to think long and hard about how I want to do that, which is not something I'm able to do right here. But I feel like I'm so close to having like a cool tangible thing, but also I've been streaming for about 2 hours. So maybe I do just call it and think about it and come back renewed and like with cool stuff to show off on Thursday, instead of kind of bashing my head against a wall here. Okay, if nothing else, I can elucidate what I want to do next time. Thank you everybody for stopping by after work. It's been refreshing coming back to this after so long. So, the game plan is we're gonna have all of our post-processing effects that we can possibly do something with. You'll be able to choose one from this drop-down. When you do that, it will then populate this list here with little entries like such, however many there are for parameters that you can modify. The parameter name will be specified, and then in the drop-down on the right side, you'll be able to choose a tracking parameter that you want to drive this configuration parameter for the effect. So like you'll be able to say like on-off will be driven by the linear or whatever. That'll be cool. The vertical shake will be driven by the pulse, etc., etc. And you can probably just have an option for like not relevant here for most of these, and you'll be all set. So the problem now is like because I'm having it refresh valid options for this dropdown, I'd be basically recreating this list every frame. Glad you got to catch stream. Yeah. I'll be back, I think, Thursday, same exact time, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern and going until my brain shuts down, which is about 9 or 10. But yeah, that's kind of the plan. So they'll be able to automatically populate this. I need this to not be redrawn every frame, though. This needs to be event-driven, because we want this list to stay intact. And it should only change when you actually alter the drop-down. So I gotta think long and hard about how I want to do that. So the reason it's getting updated every frame is because this is kind of based on how we have for like, where is it? Like hotkeys or expressions. Like if I made a hotkey trigger, there are a couple of reasons it's a waste of resources, but that's not really the real problem. It's not that intensive. It's just difficult to keep track of state for that many different things, I feel, when you're constantly rebuilding. No real reason to do it like that. So the hotkeys, for example, you can make a new hotkey. I'll do it right now, even. So we have, like, all these cool hotkeys. We see we've got, like, my last one is item scene for Ape Escape Helmet. I'll go ahead and I'll make a new hotkey right now. Where are they? New hotkey. I don't even care what it does. This is hotkey name. New hotkey. Hotkey action. Plain animation, sure. My blush animation. That sounds awesome. Okay, so now if I go back to my thing here, and I look at this again, there we go, it's in the list now. So we want this to be refreshing constantly, because a user could just add a new hotkey whenever, arbitrarily, right? And we want this to reflect that. And similarly, when we save this, we know that we want this to be like new hotkey or whatever, but when we load in the app, we haven't loaded the hotkeys from the user yet. So we need to say in memory, hey, this is what this is supposed to be. Wait until we get back a list of hotkeys from the loaded model and see if we can find a match on the list of things we can do. So we need to constantly be polling and updating this in that regard. But the other one is a little more static. We do still have to wait to get information back from VTube Studio when we boot up, but after that, we're like in the clear. We don't need to keep updating it every frame. So, yeah, I don't know. Much to think about. But I will dwell on this. I will make this better. I'll come back with a little bit of a cleaner set of working conditions for us on Thursday or the weekend whenever I get back to this, and I will be able to actually get off to the races. We succeeded today in at least getting our drop down to the dynamically populate, which is a very, very small victory, but I've got a grand vision. I'll make it happen. As for me, that's going to do it, I believe. Let me go find somebody to raid. Who's good? Who's online right now? Twitch.tv. Oh, this is an easy one. I know who we're raiding. Thanks for the stream. Yeah. Sorry we didn't really get that much progress done. This was kind of me ideating and, like, looking at old code for the first time in 2 years. So, you know, a little challenging there. But I think we'll come back to it and be powerful pretty soon. Anyway, I'm sending you guys to friend of the channel, Big Ham, who is celebrating her 4-year anniversary. I don't know what she's doing right now, but I'm sure it'll be great. She's a large gaming hamster on Twitch.tv, one of my dearest friends, etc., etc. Go congratulate her. She's wonderful. Yeah, that's going to do it for me. Bonus Sarah, and good night.